Yeah. Namaskar and welcome to Tanima.com. In this segment, we interview full time musicians and performing artists from India who are pursuing their domain of arts and music as a full time career. In this era of YouTube creators, where many of them are earning in millions of dollars, and even Indian artists are generating regular income from their YouTube careers, where professional careers are not bound by geographical boundaries. During these interviews, we will get to know the real truths and the ground realities from the musicians, from the performing artists, how hard or how easy to make a mark in the professional industry from their own experiences. Today, in this interview, we welcome Soumendra Goswami. He's a 24-year-old sitar player from Noida, India. Soumendra, welcome to the interview.
Namaste Rishmadi, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much. We will start right away with the first question. Tell us the name of the school where you teach sitar.
Right now, I am teaching in Lotus Valley International School,
Great.
and it's been about a few months that I have joined the school.
Great. Awesome. And congratulations on your first appointment as your first job, right?
Thank you so much, yes.
Yeah. We would like to know about the entire process from discovery of your talent as a sitar player, as a prospective sitar player and a teacher for the school. Who referred you to the principal, and what was the end-to-end selection process like? Could you please share the details?
So, basically, one of my friends is a music teacher in the same school, and she, kind of recommended me and asked me to send my CV and my details because the school was already looking for a sitar teacher as a replacement for the older teacher who was there, and she was probably leaving at that time. So I sent my CV, and immediately, next day I got a call from the HR saying that you need to come for the interview. I went, they gave me a form to fill up, and the interview process was really smooth and quick. Not many questions were asked. It's just, they asked me to do a demo kind of a class, I guess. And just they wanted to see how I would teach kids, because teaching sitar to kids is even more difficult than teaching sitar to an adult or anybody of a mature age. So they were quite happy with the interview, and after that, we discussed my duties and everything, and that was it. They were really eager to have me over there.
Wow. So when you said you were asked to demo, so were there a set of students sitting right there with sitars that you had to teach to?
No, not really. Actually, there was a teacher over there. He's a very good friend and a colleague of mine right now. So he acted as a child, and I had to teach him.
Wow. Okay, so he had his sitar.
There are sitars in the school.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. So you did submit a resume or you not? And how, if yes, how long does your resume look like?
Well, my resume is a three-page thing, and
Wonderful.
yes, I did submit it.
Okay, now that since we are talking about resume, so in overall 3 pages, what all have you mentioned?
Like I believe that my resume is pretty basic because call me old school, but I don't go by newer, colorful resumes that people like to show up nowadays. Mine is a very basic, old style format, just a small introduction, then my educational details, what is my work experience, any achievements that I have achieved, positions of responsibilities, yes, that's very important, and just languages, and uh, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, not like very flashy or something, very basic. Just a black and white thing.
Yeah, perfect. And as I know that you have, in even in a very short span of time, you are so young, you have had significant milestones in your sitar playing journey, if I may say so. You have held positions of responsibility in colleges. You have participated in national level, so many competitions. So yeah, that's great to go. Okay, so did they ask you this question, like, tell us about yourself in the interview?
Yeah, of course they did. The first thing actually they asked me was that, like, what, what kind of teacher do you think you would be, or like, what is your vision to teaching, basically. So,
Wow.
I started with, what I believe in is that teaching the basics at first is very important. And I made it very clear that teaching the basics might take a lot of time when it comes to sitar. After
Hmm.
that, it's just a game of practice and dedication. But the basics, that's the point where most beginner students tend to get bored and they tend to leave. So my challenge was to make that basic, training very interesting and interactive with the students.
Wow, I would, if I were interviewing you, I would just hire you at this answer. I mean it. So, what are the other questions that they asked you?
I was not really asked many questions. They asked me what I am pursuing right now. So I had just completed my master's. Like I didn't have the degree back then, but I did give my last exam. So I told them that right now I am pretty much doing nothing. I just completed the exams and I'll I might be pursuing with the PhD in the very near future, so I informed them that beforehand because it's better to keep things clear. And apart from that, they listened to, some melodies. They wanted to listen to me playing the sitar, of course. And yeah, one very interesting thing that they asked is they asked me to play a Sare Jahan Se Acha. And I played it like any professional would do. And the interviewer asked me that how would you make it simple for a child? For example, if a class 6th or 7th child comes to you and it is required that they need to perform on Sare Jahan Se Acha, so they cannot pull the strings as accurately as you are able to. So how would you make it simple and effective for them? So thankfully I could do that and they were pretty happy about it.
Wonderful. Yes, that's wonderful. Okay, so what did you wear for the interview? Did they give you a dress code to stick to, or you just chose your own attire?
I always wear kurta pajama.
Fantastic. And now that you have started teaching, what is your daily class schedule like? Like number of classes, duration of each class on a daily basis?
um, Depends on days. So Mondays are pretty much the busiest. So we have 9 periods and then a zero period. So Mondays generally I only get one free period, and rest all periods are filled with classes.
Okay.
Zero periods are also generally free, but then sometimes there's some meeting or there's a substitution to go to. But the most free time that I get in the week is on the Friday. So that's very relieving that Friday you get a sense that okay, now tomorrow and day after will be holiday, and then Friday is also relaxing.
Hmm.
So Fridays, I get about 3-4 periods of free time.
Okay. So Monday to Thursday, you teach 9 periods continuously from morning till evening.
Not on all days. Mondays are the busiest, but
Okay.
like Tuesdays I probably have 2 periods free, Wednesdays again 2 3. But the
Okay.
freest time that I have is on Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I am understanding is it's a lot of hard work. It also requires definitely to for you to be alert mentally and be physically well.
Yeah, definitely,
Wow.
definitely, because sitar is itself a very fragile instrument,
Yes.
and having anywhere from 5 to 10 students at a time in the sitar
Hmm.
room, you know anything can go wrong about it, because
Hmm.
it's
Yes, the point
just
I
because the sitar is so fragile.
Yes, any classical instrument, any musical instrument for that matter, is what the point I want to drive home is music learning, when sitar playing, is not like games period that we used to have or the SUPW
Right,
period we used to have in schools.
right,
Like just make some crafts and electronic stuff and just play and do some PT. It's not
right.
that. It's serious. It requires a lot of concentration both on the students' part and also the teachers' part. In fact, in my personal opinion and professional experience, music teaching and learning is even far more rigorous and it requires a lot of more concentration than learning English or math. So
Very,
yeah,
very truly said.
wonderful.
Yes.
You're doing an incredible job. Okay, so how many students do you teach? Like in total, how many school students do you have to teach in school?
So, when I joined the school, there were only about 4 or 5 students in Sitar. So, it's what, my third or fourth month right now, and I already have about 24 to 25 students.
Wow, isn't that an achievement? So how did
Well,
this
I
happen? I
think
want to
that.
know about that. Yeah, so when they started, so they are all beginners or are they taking sitar lessons at home as well? And how did this
No, no.
number grow from 4 to 5 to 20?
So, one or two students, they have a, I would say, a musical background in their family. So, some one or two students do learn outside, but rest of them, they are all coming to the school, and just out of their interest, they are learning sitar at school. So initially, when there were 4 to 5 students, among them most were in the senior school, in 10th, 11th, and 12th, and 6 to 8, I almost had no students. So my coordinator asked me that what you can do. He actually advised me on this, that you what you can do is, you can probably, whenever you have a substitution or whenever you're free, you can go to the junior classes and just talk about sitar and try to interact with them, try to you know get their interests going about in that direction. So I kind of did that, and more so students, I guess, got interested, because I not only talk about sitar in my substitution classes. I am I you know I myself did my graduation in physics, so I can teach also. So sometimes I would just go and start helping them solve maths problems or anything that they are stuck with. So that in a way, you kind of bond with children, and they start admiring you, in a way, that okay, this teacher is cool and he's very helpful and kind. So I guess that helped a lot, but I don't know how much that will help me in teaching them sitar. But yeah, that's how the numbers increased eventually.
That's fantastic. In fact, this is actually like very good Ivy League MBA schools where the professors and teachers, lecturers, they have to pitch and go talk to the students that I am teaching this. Would you be interested in learning and taking this class?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's wonderful. And given your natural flair for teaching, I know that very well. I am assuming I absolutely trust you that you must have built very good bond with the students to get them, get their foot in the door, like we say, you know.
Exactly. After
And
that, it's more of a matter of gelling them up with the instrument, and getting them to make a bond with the instrument itself.
absolutely. Yes, this is where I want to again drive home another point, not just for our audience, but also for other artists, other young artists who are trying to pursue their career as a full time musician. Only learning the technical details will not help. So you need to be able to be a people's person and understand the psyche of the students, a prospective students, how to inspire them to start at least take a few sessions in sitar learning or any musical
Yeah.
learning. Wow, wonderful.
And
That's
every student is different, because their approach to things is very much different. They all come from different families, different backgrounds. Some of
Yes.
them, they come from such a rich musical background that they ask very, very, uh, high level questions about music and sitar. They want to know about the history behind sitar, and then I really have to sometimes, I have to go through my memory and jog that up on the board and try to teach them. And some of them are just coming from a businessman family, and they're not musically so enriched, and to tackle them, I guess, is more difficult because their interest in music is more, commercially inclined. And then you have to ask them, okay, what all songs do you hear? What all Bollywood songs do you hear? What all English songs do you hear? And sometimes, I'll just play that on my laptop and play along with the sitar, and they'll just hype up and they'll be like, oh yes, it is so cool. And so that's how you need to tackle with all the students. Like
True,
there's no
true. And
one way
hmm,
thing to go about it.
absolutely. And I think that's amazing how it's like when students can't come to music, you are taking music education to students by going to
Yeah,
their level and understanding their psyche and relating to their questions. How would they understand music? This is, I think, one of your brilliant contributions towards classical music, towards your sitar music as such. Hats off, Soumendra Goswami.
thank
Moving
you.
on to our
Thank you
next
so much.
question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have already said about what you teach, but still a little bit about maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds of on the curriculum part. Have you like designed, like you will first teach the sargam, or how have you designed your curriculum?
Um, so I generally don't really go by a curriculum. Yeah, of course, I have to submit one at the school. So, I generally start with the very basic things, but mostly, I kind of observe where the student is heading in terms of what I'm teaching.
Hmm,
So if like, because firstly I'll have to hold those students together, their interest in sitar should not go down. So if I just focus
true.
on probably the sargams and some students can do it better than the others, then it is demoralizing for them, and they might then switch back to their older activities. So I guess my first job is to hold them together, and for that, I kind of observe and see that okay, this student can do better on the right hand part, so I'll just give him right hand lessons at the moment. This student is holding the sitar, the posture is very good, and the student probably understands the process better. So I formulate my lessons in those ways.
Wow. I think what you just said, I mean, even younger artists would need to take lessons on how to teach. I would love you to, design such workshops in future times as we continue to work together as part of Tanima.com
Absolutely.
projects.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think this also another point I want to make here is so when students go to universities like Ravindra Bharati University, they specifically go there to study music. So it is one thing to teach those students, and it is absolutely different and another thing to teach students from these conventional schools, as you are saying. It's so difficult and so hard, and it has to be unique. You have to observe the students and how they are learning or
Absolutely.
capturing.
Absolutely.
Wow,
That is
this is
very true.
brilliant.
Because
Very. Hmm.
generally, students going to RBU or DU in Delhi, most of them, choose those colleges as for their
Hmm.
music education, and they know what they're doing, they know what they're going in for. So tackling with them is, I guess, much more, I wouldn't say simpler, but it's much more organized, and you can plan your day accordingly. But here
Yeah,
you don't know what kind of a challenge the child will throw at you
true. The
at any
expectations
time.
are, yeah,
Exactly, the expectations are like very different.
true, true. Wow. I can now get a little bit of idea of how challenging it is for you. and it may get very daunting at times and maybe a little bit frustrating as well. But I, again, as I keep telling you, keep at it because we have got a lot to learn from your experience. Thank you so much for sharing these insights. I'm sure it'll, be eye opening to many more artists. Okay, now, so I have now the question is very bigger. It's a general question, but I'll go forward. So, did you have a full time music teacher in school? Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah, I always had full-time music teachers at school.
Oh, like,
And
oh wow, that's good. Huh.
yeah, because at first I was studying in my in the school in which my mom, still works. She's also Indian music teacher over there.
Oh wow.
And
Yes.
later on, I passed out from Amity International School, and my dad was a Sitar teacher over there. So I
Oh
always had
wow.
music teachers at
Okay, you
school.
had teachers. That's wonderful. I think that
Yeah.
also helped you a little bit in the orientation, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. How to go about things in a school environment, I
Hmm.
definitely learned from both of them.
Cool. But yet, you are still starting as a first teacher in your career. How is it like when you mingle with other teachers? Do they ask you questions, or or how is it? How do you network with other teachers?
I would say, I am probably the youngest teacher in the school right now, and I am thankful that, all of my colleagues are very supporting, and they treat me as their equals. They don't see me as a child, teaching other children. So
True.
that is very, uplifting, and that really helps in a workspace because uh, it's my first job, and everything seems new, and sometimes things do get daunting and very challenging,
Hmm.
but you can anytime go to them and ask for their advice, ask them how
Wow.
do you go about it. There are really experienced teachers over there, and everyone is very helpful and motivating over there, so that's really lucky for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So they do have a more like a professional, environment there. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
also learning from you how you do, and it's not that. Okay, great. So now coming to the commercials. So did you know your salary package when they offered you the job, or it was it discussed at a later time?
they gave me a rough idea, but the final salary package was then quoted later on after the interview.
Okay, so they gave you some information during the interview.
Right when I received the call from HR, she asked me what are your expectations,
Hmm.
and at that time we discussed for a bit, but then we discussed at length after the interview.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Um. And who conducted this part of the discussion? Was it the principal or somebody else?
So my interview was taken when the summer vacations were going on, I guess, in the school, and uh, the principal, ma'am, she was not in India. She was somewhere else. So the vice principal, ma'am, and the coordinator, both of them were present while discussing about the salary and details.
Okay. Wow. And also, did you tell them about your expectations? What is the minimum salary that you expect?
Yeah, of course I did.
Okay.
Because in that thing, my parents always guided me because they
Hmm.
they they knew better what is the scenario of the market, the teaching market right now.
Yes, because otherwise, if you don't have any idea, you could get taken advantage of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
smart. You have to be very smart. Awesome. Now the next question is, yes, did they mention any parameters of your credibility as a music teacher to justify the salary amount? If yes, what were those parameters?
Um, so as I told you, my interview went butter smooth, and they were really impressed with my CV itself.
Hmm.
So they didn't ask me anything, that anything out of the box, to justify things.
Okay.
But yeah, when I told them about my expectation, they did ask me that what else can you offer to the school.
Hmm.
So I just told them that everything that I can offer is right there in the CV.
Yeah.
So that's how it went basically.
Yeah, that's a smart response. Yes, it's all laid out in the resume. Okay. Now,
Yes, yes.
of course, it's on the authorities' part. Like at tanima.com, this interview idea, it's on my part. I should be able to gauge your potential and how we can engage so that it'll be good for you and for our audience. Absolutely. Okay. Share
Right.
any one memorable experience that you have had in the school as a sitar teacher. Did you get any cute or quirky comment from any kid or whatever?
I would quote a memory as a teacher, not as a sitar teacher.
Hmm.
So I interact with the students a lot. I love talking to them. I love talking about their hobbies. What do they
Hmm.
like? What kind
Hmm.
of a music they are interested in.
Hmm.
So and naturally, being a young teacher, little kids they gravitate to you because they can relate more.
Yes.
So this one time I was given a bus duty, and I had to drop off the kids at their homes,
Okay.
in the bus.
Hmm.
So there was this child. She is probably in class sixth, and while you know getting down from the bus, she kind of nodded her head on my tummy, and she's like, "Bye, sir." And that was really cute. That really made my day. That okay, this is really nice.
So sweet. Yes, because usually in school, in fact, the same thing happened with us. The other teachers like English, math, we were a little bit scared of them. But with our music teacher, music ma'am, even now when I talk to her, my music school music teacher, she said, "You are like my right hand." And I also tell her, "Yes, ma'am." We bonded so well with the music
Yeah,
teachers. We bond at a heart level.
yeah.
Yes, it's more emotional, and that's the loveliest part of going to school even as children. Okay, now one last little question, and we will go forward with a rapid fire round. The last
Sure.
question is: do you write on the blackboard or dictate for students to take notes of the theory part in school?
I write on the blackboard, of course, because
Hmm.
I can't dictate the notations to them. So
Okay,
I do need to write on the blackboard. Yeah.
perfect, perfect. Okay, Soumendra, the time is 6 minutes में है ना ठीक है रैपिड फायर फटाफट कर लेते हैं okay now we will start with the rapid fire round first question your favorite sitar guru in India one name
My guru, Pandit Kushal Das ji.
perfect do you believe in quoting your guru in your classes or do you always improvise your teachings yes or no
Sometimes I do quote him, but mostly it's all about improvising. That's
cool
how I got to learn from my Guruji, and that's how I would like to move it forward.
wonderful your top 5 sitar players from India whom you admire
Um, Niladri Kumar, of course, then then Purban Chatterjee da, and nowadays I'm listening a lot to Saman Mai Sarkar da. He's an excellent sitarist, and apart from them, if I talk about the big names, then of course my Guruji Pandit Kushal Das ji and Shahid Parvez ji.
Shahid Parvez ji. Yes, wonderful. Name the first magazine that published your story.
Well, the one that you published,
Yeah, Star Magazine from
Star
Tanima.com.
Magazine. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, name all the schools that have students enrolled under your tutelage.
Oh, that's a difficult one.
How many are they? Okay, how many schools?
So I've got students from Step by Step. Then um, there was one from Somerville. There was one from Amity. But in my private tuitions, not many kids learn sitar. Mostly they are professional adults who are doing other jobs.
Hmm. Okay, perfect. Total number of students that you are currently teaching. You said in your school, I think there are 20, 25. Other than that,
Other than that, I have about 10 or 11 students of my own.
wow. And they are all from India?
No, some are from US, then there's one learning from London, and there is one learning from Australia also.
Perfect. Wow, it sounds interesting. And one second. Yeah, when you start your day or to go to school, what is your top three most commonly used self affirmation phrases?
I can do it. um, Whatever comes to me, I'll see and have faith in God.
Okay, perfect. And as a Sitar teacher, do you believe in teaching students to be a good human being, or do you just tell your students to be the best?
No, definitely being the better human is important.
Cool. Internationally, that is Sitarists or other Indian musicians who are not living in India, do you follow their work?
I do.
Cool. If yes, please tell us some of their names.
So, you know, I follow works of Niladrida and Purvanda, of course, because Niladrida and Purvanda are probably they are an inspiration for every young sitarist out there right now.
Yeah.
And apart from them, as I mentioned earlier, Samanvay Sarkarda, he's also a very young sitar player, but he's tremendous. I mean, I actually listen to him whenever I get time. He
Hmm.
posts a lot on Instagram, and it's really inspiring and motivating.
Other Sitar players who are not in India.
Who are not in India, there is Josh Feinberg. He stays in
Hmm.
the US.
Yes, I've also interacted with him. Hmm.
I got a chance to talk to him on Instagram once, and he's a very nice and a kind guy. But yeah, he his musicality also really, reverberates with mine.
Hmm. Okay, cool. And last rapid fire round question is top three qualities of a good music teacher.
Having patience, um, having the will to, better yourself, and some level of dedication when it comes to handling students, not teaching.
Perfect. Yes, as a good teacher, those are the qualities. Thank you so much, Soumendra, for coming to the interview.
Thank you
And
so
I
much
look
for
forward
having me
to,
here.
yeah, I look forward to speaking with you soon again. I
Absolutely.
will, yeah, thank you so much.